Denzel Washington returns the Equalizer 3. As per usual, the review will be spoiler free. It is 10:50 p.m. If you happen to like the content of my channel, please hit the subscribe button below and spread the word to your friends and family. If you hear any noise in the background, that is my fans going. It is still pretty warm and not comfortable for me to have my fans off. But once again, I do apologize for that. Let's go ahead and discuss this review. Denzel Washington returns as Robert McCall, the mysterious figure that has this violent past of being this top secret government agent using his skills to help the helpless. Antoine Fuqua returns to complete the trilogy, and what I do appreciate about the Equalizer trilogy is that every single film brings something different. The first one is more action oriented, introducing you to the world of the Equalizer and his skills. The second one, more character development, introspective, and while still never letting up on the action. This one is where everything is taken to an absolute elite 10. The violence, the gore, the blood, the character development, the dialogue between Robert McCall and the CIA agent that is played by Dakota Fanning, who, as you know, worked with Denzel on Man on Fire, which is a great film. Robert McCall is recuperating from his injuries while attempting to rest in Italy, finally believing that he has found his place in the world where there's no violence and he can be at peace. Fortunately for him, fortunately for the villains, you have this Italian-based mafia in Italy using their violent intimidation tactics in terms of keeping the people of Italy within this community at bay and afraid of them while infiltrating certain aspects of, say, the law enforcement, the government, through drug trade. Uh, they happen to catch the attention of Robert McCall, and that before you know it, all hell breaks loose. And when I mentioned that everything just hits the fan, that's exactly what happens. There are moments within this film that Denzel's Washington performance simply did frighten me. There is specifically one moment towards the end of the final sequence where he is absolutely frightening, and what makes it so weird and odd at times, and it's not done in a manner where you feel as if it's a negative. It makes you respect the character that much more because he's unhinged, and yet he's the hero of the story. And Denzel simply just brings his A game. I cannot think of any type of film that he has been a part of where I felt it was a waste of time. I mean, every single Denzel Washington cinematic project that I have watched throughout my 42 years of living, I've liked every single one of them. He joins a list of actors of Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, Morgan Freeman, John Cusack, Billy Bob Thornton, where even Robert De Niro and well, not Al Pacino anymore, but those actors that I just mentioned, they have just been a part of every single project that I could think of where I have enjoyed it. And Equalizer 3 is, in my opinion, the best of the trilogy. It's absolutely wonderful, very intense and suspenseful and dark and violent. It doesn't let go when the action starts. Now, I will say, if you're going in expecting this 2 hour plus action extravaganza film from beginning to end, you're going to be disappointed because it is more of a slow burn to where the crescendo hits and everything is just unraveling to the point to where you are still on the edge of your seat and you cannot believe what has unfolded. Even for it to be in 2 hours, it still goes by relatively quick. There's never a single wasted moment where you just feel like, okay, this could have been trimmed down, this could have been taken out, or this was boring. No, it simply does its job as far as offer you the means of escape into a world of espionage and still wanted to understand exactly what makes Robert McCall such a unique and interesting character, and the fact that you don't necessarily need a backstory about him to understand exactly what he's capable of. Denzel Washington captures that essence of Robert McCall from to the fullest extent. The chemistry that he has with Dakota Fanning within this story is obvious as well, and I love their interaction with one another. How they just have some of the most brilliant lines and snappy comebacks at a manner that is very cathartic and yet morbid with their sense of humor with one another. The villains, what I do appreciate even more about cinema these days, we're moving away from the traditional sense of saying, let's make the villain sympathetic, let's give them some sort of tragic backstory. No, we are going to go ahead and make them as irredeemable, disgusting, reprehensible as possible. That's what happens with this performances with these villains. There's nothing good about them, and when you see them on screen, you literally feel as if everything about them is where you hate their existence. And that is such a rare thing these days when it comes to the portrayals of villains. I enjoyed the villains more in this one than I did with the second one. That these are what villains should be, and the fact that that's what's offered to the audience, you escape into their world of Robert McCall and the villains, and that is what I've always enjoyed about these films, is the fact that it is about escapism, and you where you can forget about your outside problems for the next 2 hours and completely be immersed with the world of the Equalizer. The action sequences is once again top notch, violent, brutal, bloody, gory. Probably, and quite honestly, when you think about the violence from the first two films, this one is it goes up to 1,000,000, and it's just unapologetic. The beginning sequence is just unexpected. You have the one that happens in the middle that is absolutely frightening and dark and just have you on the edge of your seat. And towards the end is where everything is just unraveling to the point to where you still cannot believe your eyes. Everything about Equalizer 3 is perfect for me personally. I enjoyed every single second of it. Then again, you can't, when it comes to Denzel, you know you're going to get something special. So anyone who thinks that Denzel doesn't bring his A game, I simply don't know what to tell them. Equalizer 3 is one of the most intense, entertaining experiences that I've ever had the pleasure of watching. I'm going to go ahead and give Equalizer 3 a 10 out of 10, 2 thumbs up. Highly recommend it. Do not bring your children because it's not for them with in terms of the language and the violence and the gore and the blood. Other than that, it's absolutely fun. You don't necessarily have to watch the first two to understand what's going on. Even though there's a few Easter eggs here and there and references to past events, it's not necessary for you to watch the first two in order to fully become aware as to what's transpiring on the screen. But that is my review of Equalizer 3. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have watched it, please let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. Provide a like if you want to. Next week's review is most likely going to be my Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 or The Nun. I have Nun 2. I haven't decided yet. But you'll be hearing from me again. You'll be hearing from me again, my friends. Take care and peace out. Stay healthy.